Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the Russia Ukrainian war. So, as of today, we have received reports that Russian forces are now reinforcing its positions on the western bank of the Dnieper River. Within the last 48 to 72 hours, there were initial reports coming in about the possibility of Russian forces looking to withdraw from the western bank of the Dnieper River as Ukrainian forces continue offensive operations against the Russian hold on the western bank of the Dnieper River. Now, with that being said, it is reported that more than 2,000 additional Russian forces have been moved into Kherson city itself. We have received reports that Russian forces are now fortifying and have been fortifying Kherson city. It appears that the Russians are looking to make a stand in and around Kherson city and do not wish Ukrainian forces to take control of the city without an immense cost. Additionally, it appears very heavy fighting is continuing in the northeast as multiple Ukrainian battalion sets attempt to continue to push from the north-south along the Dnieper River. We can report that there is continued very much heavy fighting taking place. There continues to be the use of Russian tactical air assets, attack helicopters, attacking Ukrainian positions, attacking or counterattacking Ukrainian mechanized units as they attempt to further press their way towards Novokhovka, this area here. This is the key point of supply for Russian forces to move its forces back and forth across the Dnieper River. Obviously, it is a dam, very difficult to target and destroy without much risk of flooding areas downstream, just to the south of the dam. And then obviously it is incredibly important for the Russians to maintain control of this area. If it loses control of Novokhovka, then obviously its situation further south near Kherson in the Kherson city, could become incredibly precarious. It appears that is the situation now in terms of the Ukrainians continuing offensive operations. Now, we can report that those offensive operations by the Ukrainian military are coming at an immense cost. The Ukrainians have a huge force construct positioned against the Russian host just across on the western bank of the Dnieper River. By some estimates, there could be as many as 60,000 Ukrainian troops involved in this offensive operation in and around the Kherson footprint, as I like to call it. Furthermore, to the northeast, it would appear that the Ukrainians are launching another set of offensive operations to the east of Bakhmut. They are attempting to push back Russian forces near Bakhmut. Again, these are some vicious battles taking place near Bakhmut city, and we can anticipate this will continue for some time. Now, with that being said, we are hearing a fairly consistent theme coming out of the Kremlin, coming out of Russia, and that is the term war until victory. And it would appear that the Russian government has accepted that this is going to be a long-term conflict, that it is going to have to mobilize its forces, just like the Ukrainians have mobilized its forces. Now, obviously, the Russians are playing catch-up here to some extent, whereas we saw very early mass mobilization by the Ukrainians. And right now, it appears that, at least on the ground, the Ukrainians have more combat troops in the field than the Russians do. Now, again, the Russians are playing catch up. The Russians are mobilizing. We are seeing an expansion of the Russian army, the Russian ground forces. Quite frankly, all aspects of the Russian military infrastructure are expanding with mobilization. Now, obviously, that is also putting a strain on other services inside of Russia as well. For instance, we've received reports that bus drivers are being mobilized to drive trucks, large trucks in the Russian military, and that has led to a strain on some public transportation services inside of Russia. So again, and you're kind of seeing the same thing inside of Ukraine as well. While at the same time, we continue to see the widespread use of kamikaze attack drones by Russian forces against Ukraine. It would appear that Russia has decided to turn out the lights in Ukraine. And once the winter months, once it finally starts to get very, very cold, we shall see if Ukraine wishes to continue with this conflict or may look to acquiesce in terms of handing over some territory to the Russians. But that is what is happening right now in terms of the Russian war strategy. It is taking the conflict and trying to put pressure on the Ukrainian government by attacking the public services sector of Ukraine, the energy generation capability to provide heat, light, what have you, inside of Ukraine. So that's it for today. We will obviously continue to monitor, report, and watch what is happening on the ground. Thank you for joining us today. More to come. And as always, have a good day.